Yo guys, what's going on? Welcome back to another video on the channel. Now in today's video guys, I'm going to be bringing you my full predictions for the weekend of college football. I'm recording this currently on Friday night at like 12 a.m. So guys, essentially we're going to be doing college football. Then we're going to be moving on, into the NFL. So guys, let's go ahead, let's get straight into it now quickly. I'm going to be showing you guys the results of my eye surgery. So as you can see, this eye right here, it's still a bit like shut. I don't know what's going on with the eyelid, but essentially this eye used to be way out here. Now they ended up moving it right here. So now my eyes are almost perfectly straight. And yeah, that's basically the result of the surgery. So let's go ahead and let's get into it. Okay, so the first game we're going to go ahead and take a look at is one of the marquee games. There's a couple good games on this weekend, but this is the marquee game. Oklahoma taking on Texas. This is in Dallas, Texas, the Cotton Bowl Stadium. You take a look here. These two are very high-powered offense. On one side, you got Jalen Hurts, and I believe you got, I forget the guy's name, but you got Jalen Hurts, who's having an incredible season, and you got Lincoln Riley as well, who is one of, if not the best college coaches in the NCAA right now. He is just insane. Then on the other side, though, you got Texas. They got Colin Johnson, who I believe is returning, the wide receiver. They got Sam Ehlinger, the quarterback, and they got a very high-powered offense. So this is a mix with the offense, and Texas already had a test against LSU in, I believe, the second game of the year, and they fell short. I think, unfortunately, they're going to fall short in this one. Oklahoma is just narrowly going to beat Texas in this one, but this is going to be a great game. Definitely one for the ages. I am taking Oklahoma, though. They're going to beat Texas by, I'd say, a touchdown. Moving on here, the next game is Memphis taking on Temple. Now, Memphis is 5-0. They are ranked, and then you move on to Temple. They are 4-1. I believe the game is in Temple, as it is in Philadelphia, PA. So I'm going to go ahead, though. I'm going to take Memphis regardless. They have a very good team this year, and I think they're going to really succeed. Also, their basketball team is really looking good. I believe Penny Hardaway is the coach of the team. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Memphis, but definitely an exciting game. Next one, Alabama, Texas A&M. I don't really need to say much here. It's going to be Alabama. However, Texas A&M could keep it close, as they did upset Alabama once, but then again, they had Johnny Manziel. So yeah, but I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take Alabama in this game. Despite that it is at Texas A&M, I'm still taking Alabama, but it could be one of the best games to watch. Next one is Clemson taking on Florida State. This is a very interesting game here as well. And, considering Clemson had kind of a hard time beating North Carolina, I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take them. They're going to win, I'd say, by a touchdown. Florida State, I haven't really watched them much this year. But you know what, man? Cam Akers having a good year, 582 yards, 7 touchdowns on 115 carries. Also, Clemson had a very hard time against North Carolina, so I'm taking Clemson by a touchdown. Next one's Michigan State versus Wisconsin, and this is in Wisconsin. I'm a little nervous for this game because Michigan State has a really good offense this year. And, I mean, you know what? They've fallen to, I think it was Arizona State and also Ohio State, who are both now ranked, obviously. Arizona State is, in my opinion, one of the best teams in the country. Yeah, definitely like a top 25 team. But when you look at it, I'm taking Wisconsin, but I think they're going to win only by a touchdown. I think that Michigan State is going to find a way to keep it close. You take a look, Brian Lewerke has 1,500 yards and 11 touchdowns, and then you got this guy, Darrell Stewart, with 624 yards, 4 touchdowns, and 41 receptions, but I think Jonathan Taylor is going to be the difference here. They are going to win against Michigan State, but I think that Michigan State's going to keep it close against my boys. Next is Washington State versus Arizona State, and this is another interesting one because I believe the quarterback, Anthony Gordon, he leads the entire FBS in passing yards. This dude is insane. He threw for, I think, 9 touchdowns against UCLA, and somehow they still lost that game. And they're 0-2 in the Pac-12, so this is going to be very interesting. This is at Arizona State. I think that Arizona State does win this one by 2 touchdowns, but I think Washington State at some points in the game could keep it close considering how good their quarterback is. But, I mean, I just think that Arizona State is a better team, and they're going to go ahead. They're going to beat Washington State by 2 touchdowns. Next is going to be Texas Tech versus Baylor. This is another game that could be kept close, but I am going to take Baylor by 2 touchdowns, but watch out for Texas Tech. Next matchup, USC versus Notre Dame. You take a look. USC, their wide receiver, Pittman Jr., 501 yards, 4 touchdowns on 35 receptions. But also for Notre Dame, you got Ian Book as well as Tony Jones Jr. And I believe for USC, their quarterback Slovis is actually going to be playing in this game after suffering an injury, I think, 2 games ago, if I'm correct, or 3 games ago. He suffered that injury, I believe it was against Penn State. And I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take Notre Dame here by a touchdown. I think USC does keep it close with the return of Slovis. Next matchup is Penn State versus Iowa. I'm taking Penn State by 2 touchdowns here because Iowa played really bad against Michigan. And Michigan hasn't really been the best team in college football. You know, they almost lost, and they should have lost, quite frankly, to Army. They should have lost to Army. They were so sloppy in that game. They should have definitely lost. And then against Michigan, they looked awful, man. Only scoring 3 points, you know, versus Michigan. Also, Nate Stanley, who's one of the top quarterback prospects, throwing 3 interceptions against that Michigan defense who got gashed by Jonathan Taylor in Wisconsin the week earlier. I'm not high on them. I think they, you know, get knocked out of the top 20. I don't think they get knocked out of the top 25. But I'm taking Penn State here. They are going to win. And come November, December, they're a very interesting team. Now, they actually have a very tough schedule coming up. Because I believe in the next game they're versing, I don't know. Hold on. Let me quickly look, guys, at their schedule real quick. I'm going to look on here what they're, oh, shoot. Okay, so we're going to look at their schedule real quick. You take a look here. Next week, they're playing Michigan. That is a very fun game. They're playing Michigan State in this game. They're playing Minnesota, who is undefeated at the moment. And then they're playing at Ohio State on the 23rd. This is very interesting. And then also for Michigan State as well as Minnesota, they are both playing away games. And that is something very interesting. So Penn State is going to really be tested. But if they can win all of those games, I think they'll be in the college football playoff. Because if you defeat Ohio State, an undefeated team in Minnesota, as well as Michigan State and Iowa, and also Michigan, I mean, you know, it's hard not to bet. It's hard to bet against them, man. It really is. I'm going ahead. I'm going to take Penn State in this one by 2 touchdowns. Next is going to be Florida LSU. I had some debating on this one because LSU did only have 1 test this year in which they beat Texas by a touchdown. And then you move on to Florida, who beat Auburn last week pretty convincingly. And, you know, this game is interesting. This is at LSU. I think LSU wins by less than a touchdown. I think they do. I think Florida finds a way to keep it close, but I think in the end, LSU is going to prevail. Joe Burrow has been playing really well this year. Well, he's 127 for 162, which is a good completion percentage. He's got 1,800 yards and 22 touchdowns, and then the running back is really good, as well as the receiver, Justin Jefferson. These guys look really good, but Florida also looked really good last week against Auburn, so it's kind of a toss-up, but I'm taking LSU by less than a touchdown. I think they win it, and honestly, they could move into the top 4. They really could. Now, the final matchup we're going to be going over for college is going to be Hawaii taking on Boise State. I'm going to take Boise State. This is in Boise, but I expect Hawaii to somewhat keep it close, man, because they are 4-1, but Boise State, they really haven't had a test this year, apart from, I think, Florida State, which they played in the first game. I'm going to go ahead, though. I'm taking Boise State. They're going to win. They possibly could get into the top 10 if they do win this game, and some teams lose. Like, I saw Virginia just lost to, Miami. Just lost to Miami, so that's interesting. And yeah, so anyway, guys, hope you have enjoyed my college football predictions for this weekend. If you did, smash a like, smash 5 likes. Thank you guys so much for watching. Take care. Peace out.